Hello, I'm Chris. Welcome to my basement gym as we get started with a little yoga practice. So, have a block and a strap handy. Also, I am on my cement basement floor, so I do have two mats doubled up. Feel free to have two mats, or they do sell somewhat thicker ones. Or if you're on carpeting, wonderful, have a mat or a towel and provide a nice non-slick surface for your feet to grip. So we go ahead and get started with our practice. I have soft music in the background. Feel free to have your own soft music there. Just want you to find just a place that's kind of comfortable, quiet, maybe a little bit dark, just so you can unwind, relax, get out of your head, and push away all those thoughts. So that's our biggest goal today. Stretch, relax, renew. So let's start in mountain pose. Our feet underneath our hips. Feel free if you'd like to let the big toes touch and the heels be separated. It is not required. So feel free to just have your feet a comfortable spot for you. And let's push out all those external thoughts. Let's start with breathing. Inhale fully through the nose, feeling the belly expand on all sides, and then exhaling nice and slow. Maybe in time increasing your breathing by counting slowly to a number that works for you. 4 is a great starting point. If you need to go less, that's okay. Sometimes we come in a little bit worked up and we need to work our way back down. But let's just practice some belly breathing. Counting slowly to 4 as we inhale. Pausing and then counting slowly down from 4 as we exhale. Bringing focus and awareness to our breathing. Becoming a little bit more internalized. Letting all those external thoughts, those to-do lists, chores, stressors, letting them push aside for the time we have together today. Feel free if you'd like to close your eyes. You do not have to. Maybe you want to close your eyes, but you feel a little unstable standing with your eyes closed. Feel free to sneak over to a wall, or maybe have a chair close by. That way you can use that chair or wall for just a check on your balance. Sometimes just a fingertip or two on something that's unmoving can help give us that foundation to know where we are at within our space, giving us our bearings. Sometimes it's just nice to close your eyes, not letting it see anything, a gentle darkness, maybe a warmth of color behind the eyelids. Practicing our breathing. If a thought creeps in, that's okay. Recognize it. Will help quickly being able to move it aside compared to ignoring it. Even visualizing picking it up like it's a piece of paper and laying that paper aside, telling ourselves, we have time later, it'll be there, it's okay. Let's open our eyes as we look over our right shoulder and center and left and center. There we are. Dropping chin to chest and looking up and dropping chin to chest. And turning the head side to side. And now chin to chest. And leveling out our chin as we pour water out from our ear, right to left. Feel free to hold a little longer on one side. Going at our own pace, just a gentle warm up for the neck. I don't know about you, but the chores I've been doing lately, my neck has been paying the price. So this is wonderful. Let's do that one more time. Looking right and left. One more. And chin to chest. And then pouring water out from our ears. Good. Coming center. Let's bring our hands to heart center as we sweep up, expanding the chest towards the ceiling, lifting our sternums up as we forward fold. Don't worry if you can't touch the floor. We're only coming to our hands, touch our shins. We're going to lift up, sweep up, and draw down through the middle. Again, sweep, lift up, forward fold, not going super deep, just warming up the body. Sweep up, and draw through the middle. Again, lift, forward fold, lift up, and draw through. Sweep up, forward fold, lift up, and pull through. Good, let's add it into this. Lifting into our forward fold, big chest expansion, hinging at our hip joints. Good, lift up halfway and pressing the legs through the floor, squeezing thigh muscles to the bone. And forward fold one more time. Let's reverse that fold. As we sit back into chair pose briefly. Weight is in our hips and our heels. Good. Lifting up. Forward fold. Lift halfway up, pushing the feet to the floor, using the backs of our legs, and coming back into our forward fold. Reversing that fold as we sit into chair. Weight is in our heels. Good. Lift up, forward fold. Notice I'm not rounding the spine just yet. Lifting to flat back, using my muscles, and forward fold. Reversing that fold as we sit back into chair pose. One last time. Forward fold. Raising up halfway and flattening out and reversing that fold. Sitting into chair pose. Let's come up through the middle, staying tall for a half moon as we press our hips towards the left, hands reaching to the right, and center for forward fold. Good. Reversing our fold as we do half moon. Other side. Back to center for forward fold. Let's drape ourselves over the legs now. And reverse that fold. Again, half moon. And center. Forward fold, draping ourselves over, allowing our fingertips to creep closer. Reversing that fold. And half moon. One more time each side. Half moon, hands reach right, hips press left, and forward fold. Reversing that fold, and half moon two with hands left, hips right, tailbone under, elbows by the ears, and our final forward fold within the sequence. Let's draw our hands through the middle, elbows close. Hands reach to the walls, reaching to the ceiling, and then drawing in through the middle, holding our elbows together. 2 more times, big lift. Hold the elbows inward. 1 last time. And hold. Good. Let's reverse this. Elbows as close as possible for as long as possible before we open. Nice, easy, slow movement. Reaching to the walls behind us, opening, broadening our sternum, broadening our collarbones. Good. Let's take our fingertips on our shoulders, and we're just gonna raise and lower our elbows in our little penguin pose here. This is just a little physical therapy exercise that I have picked up. It feels absolutely wonderful. I'm waking up our shoulders. Our shoulders take so much abuse. They're the most unstable joint. And there's so many muscles, ligaments, and tendons holding them in place. They get easily injured and abused. So giving them a little love, a little warm up, is the least we can do for them. Good. Only 5 more seconds. Good. Now let's interlace our fingers behind us, opening up through the chest as we do 1 more forward fold. And if you like, extend the arms a little higher. Good. Pressing through the floor to lift. And releasing the arms. Let's go ahead and face the end of our mats. If you need to, grabbing the block. As we go into a forward fold sequence. Remember, the block can be at many different heights for whatever you need. I'm going to put it right there for myself. As we do a forward fold to reach the floor. Taking the leg closest to each other, stepping back into a deep lunge, and preparing for crescent. As we lift our sternums up, our tailbone tucks under, keeping our low backs long. We're feeling that delicious stretch right in the front of our hip. Good. Let's bring the hands down to frame the floor. As we lift our knee, step back into plank, and slowly lower down. Coming into half cobra as we press the hands through the floor, pulling the elbows. Don't let the elbows kick up. We want to pull those elbows down. We want to press our forearms into the floor, squeezing right between the shoulder blades. Good, let's lower down. As we dig our toes in for downward facing dog. Letting our hips sink back. Our chest sinks through our shoulders, so our body weight isn't loaded within our shoulders, but it's back within our hips. Good. Let's take the leg closest to each other, lift it up, draw the knee in as we step through, and put the foot down for another crescent pose. Breathe, shoulders down away from our ears. Our tailbone is really tucked under. So again, we feel that delicious stretch within the front of our hip. As our hands come down to frame our foot, stepping forward into our forward fold. And reversing our lift. Let's do the same thing, other side. Inhale, lifting. And exhaling as we fold. Bring our hands to the block or to the mat as we bend our knees. The leg furthest from each other steps back into a lunge as we lower the knee down, preparing for crescent pose. Let's pull the hips forward, lengthening our lower back. Breathe. Hands come down to frame our foot as we curl under the toe and lift the knee, stepping into plank and lowering down, preparing for half cobra. Inhaling. As we exhale, pressing the floor away from us, our belly button pulls into our spine, our shoulders are back and relaxed. Pull the elbows and pulling the forearms towards the floor. Let's lower down. Downward facing dog. Toes dig in, press up, and the hips press back. Breathe. And then again, the leg closest to us lifts and steps through. Don't worry if you can't get your foot up there. Maybe you have to grab it and sort of do a little crabby toe walk. That's okay. Breathe. So we're back into crescent. Hands come down to frame our foot. As we come into forward fold. Let's do our sun salutations one more time. Inhaling as we lift. Exhaling as we fold. Bending our knees as the leg closest to each other steps back into our crescent lunge. Let's pull the hips forward, keeping our low backs low. Hands come down to frame our foot. As we come into plank. For toes or knees, let's lower to the ground. And come into half cobra. Breathe. Pull the elbows down, pull the shoulders down. Open up through the chest. Breathe. Inhale. And exhale. Toes dig in for downward facing dog. Weight is back into our hips and our heels. We can sink our chest. If we're a bit more loaded into our shoulders like this, and we feel a lot of the weight there, step in and bend the knees just a little bit. That'll allow you to sit back. Let's take the same leg up. Draw in. And coming into crescent pose. Breathe. Hands come down to frame our foot. As we step into our forward fold. Reversing the fold. And hands heart center. Let's do this again. This time the leg furthest from each other will lead the movement. As we step back into our lunge and come into crescent pose. Tailbone is tucked under, shoulders are down. Breathe. Hands frame our foot. As we lift and step into plank pose. From plank, toes or knees, let's lower down and preparing for half cobra. Shoulders down out of the ears. Don't relax the belly button. Pull the belly button into our spine. And lowering down, preparing for downward facing dog. Pressing up and sitting back. Breathe. Taking the leg furthest from each other, lift it up. Pull in round the back like a turtle. Just sneak that foot in. Breathe. Hands come down to frame the foot. Go under, lift, and stepping into our forward fold. Reversing that fold. Drawing the hands to heart center. And releasing. Good. Should be good and warm. I'm going to grab a sip of water. Please hang out here. We will do a forward fold and get ourselves down to the mat. Inhaling as we lift. And exhale. Forward fold. Now, hugging our thigh muscles to the bone. Allow everything from the waist up just to hang. Just swing those arms side to side. Shifting the weight within our hips. Shaking the head. Make it dangle. Thigh muscles hug the bone. as we push the floor away. Good. If you'd like, you can sneak your hands underneath, intensifying the forward fold. We'll sneak our hands out if they were there. So we bend our knees, stepping a leg back and coming to our knees, and stepping a leg back, coming to our knees. Let's walk our hands in underneath our shoulders, knees underneath our hips. Cat, cow. Inhaling as we prepare, and as we exhale, let's tuck the tailbone under, pulling our belly button up to the sky, pressing the mat away as we drop our chin and our gazes through our knees. Let's come into cow pose by curling that tailbone back and up, pressing, opening up through the rib cage and pulling our sternums through our shoulders. Cat pose. Go slow this time, paying attention to the changes that we feel within our posture. What is stretching? What is tight? Let's breathe through our tight spots, slowing down as we go through those challenging little transitions so that our body may learn that it's okay. Release those muscles. Taking our sweet time. Breathe. Our last cycle of cat and cow. As we lower down onto our forearms, our elbows are directly underneath our shoulders. Feel free to make a fist interlacing the fingers. Me, I don't feel good because then my poor pinky gets smashed. So what I do is I make a fist and I cup the other fist. That way I don't have one pinky getting sort of pounded into the ground. Making a little triangle underneath us. We're going to work those knees back just a little bit and pressing through the forearms. Let's pull ourselves forward and then pushing through the floor as we drop our chest down, reaching our chest to the floor. Now pushing the forearms through the floor, let's pull ourselves forward, bringing the shoulders just in front of our elbows. And now pull back with the hips, pushing away with the forearms. Let the chest sink. Try not to think about dropping the belly button. Keep that belly button lifted and the tailbone really tucked under. We're going to feel this wonderful stretch right in our armpit. So tuck the tailbone, sink the chest, and now pulling forward. It's okay if the shoulders come in front of the elbows. And now pull back, tuck that tailbone under, round the lower back as we reach our sternum towards the floor. One more time, pull. Getting a wonderful stretch for our lats, which attach right underneath our armpits on our upper arm bone. Tuck that tailbone under, reach the sternum downward, and draw back up. As we come back up to quadruped. Good. Now the arm closest to us, let's reach out, point to each other as we thread the needle. Scooping through, we can drop our shoulder and ear till they reach close to the floor, and then press and lift out. Point to me, and now push through the floor to open towards me. Lifting our belly buttons, not let our belly buttons sag. Reach to me and open last time. And then scoop through. And releasing our ear and our shoulder to the ground. Let's keep this hand on the floor, gently pressing through the floor and aiding our rotation away from each other. Good. Let's press back up to hands and knees as we do the same thing other side. The arm that is away from us, let's point away and open towards the walls behind us. And now scoop through and let's reach towards each other as we let the ear come down, the shoulder come down, and then away. Make sure the belly button is lifted. We're not collapsing into our low backs. And lift. One last time. And holding here. Again, my hand is on the floor, gently pushing through the floor, helping deepen that rotation. And also, we prevent ourselves from loading our body weight into the shoulder. It can be a little pinchy. Let's press back up into our quadruped and having a seat on our blocks. Let's do some seated rotations. Go ahead and use your block if you need to. I have to, because if I sit on the floor without my block, you can see my knees are perched up higher than my hips. And I would like to sit kind of on the edge, the front edge, and that's going to help tip my hips and allow my knees to be lower than my hips. Now, maybe you're having a knee issue, maybe your knee hurts. Feel free to sit with that leg extended, so that way that deep bend doesn't cause any bothersome issues with your knee. Remember, we always need to double check our body, making sure that maybe the shoulder or the knee, if it needs to be altered, feel free to alter any pose that I present to you. This is your class. Coming to easy seated. One foot in front of the other. You may stack the heels. Maybe you want to crisscross. Maybe the feet have to be further out for you. Find what works for you. Maybe this is comfortable and maybe you can go to the floor. Maybe you can put your foot up into half lotus or full lotus, where you can take the other foot and tuck it up and in. Me, half lotus works all right, but I'm going to go ahead and just have both feet on the ground and have my hips or my heels lined up. Easy seated. Our sternums are lifted. Notice as soon as I lift my sternum, watch my shoulders. Collarbones get broader. Our shoulder blades and back come a little closer together, and I'm settling them down, pulling them down into imaginary back pockets. Just kind of wiggle here. It's okay. Find that spot where everything feels settled. You feel tall. You have a string on your head that's lifting you up, lengthening your spine. Hands maybe on your knees, in your lap. So we just find that wonderful lifted posture. And when we found it, let's come to easy seated twist. Taking our right hand, thumb rests on the block, or just have your elbow next to the rib cage. Left hand on the outside of the right knee. So we gently rotate towards our right. Like a spiral staircase, we are twisting, lifting upward. Not leaning over to the side or leaning backwards. Both of our hip bones are resting on the block. One's not lifting higher than the other. Let's breathe through the tension that we feel within this. And on our next exhalation, let's raise our hands from their resting spot, taking the twist fully into our torso, getting our strength of our twist from our torso. Exhale, seated twist. Inhale. And exhale as we return to center and change sides. Inhale and exhale into our twist. Breathe. Again, our hip bones are level. We're not pulling one hip higher than the other. I'm not reaching out or leaning back. We want to think of our spine like a spiral staircase, twisting, lifting upward. Breathe. And then again, on our next exhalation, let's float those hands up from their resting spots, bringing the strength of our twist within our core. Inhale, seated twist. And exhaling, as we release the center, changing what foot is in front. This may feel different. Let's put a more extreme bend on that other knee compared to that one. So again, if you feel tension that you didn't feel before, feel free to take a leg out, whatever works for you. Coming to easy seated to our right. Inhaling. And as we exhale, starting with the base of our spine, working our way up and allowing our gaze to be the last to turn. Breathing through the tension. Sternum's lifting upward, our sit bones are level. And again, on our next exhalation, let's allow our hands to float up from their resting spots. Inhale, seated twist. And exhaling, so we come back to center and we change sides. Inhale. And exhaling into our twist. Not leaning back, not leaning over. We are tall, rotating like a spiral staircase, lifting upwards. Feeling the change within our tension. And again, as we prepare to exhale, let's float the hands up. Inhale, seated twist. And as we exhale, we'll return to center. Good. Let's bring the soles of our feet together. Lots of rotations today. We're going to be doing quite a bit. We'll work on those hips. They do get so tight. So let's bring the soles of our feet together, comfortably close towards our block or towards our gluteus. It can be out here, it can be in. Feel free to grab the ankles or the big toes as we just gently bounce those knees. Nice quick little bounces as we butterfly those legs. Sternum is lifted, we're not rounded over, so don't be rounded. If you have to round, maybe bring the hands up higher, maybe on the fronts of the shins. It's okay. Another thought is sneak your strap. You can always put the strap around your feet like this. Let's prepare for forward fold. Inhaling. And as we exhale, remember we're not going to round. I want us to hinge at the hip joints, reaching our sternums outward. Keep the gaze about 3 to 4 feet in front of us. Find that landmark spot, and we want to reach our nose towards that area. Reaching our sternum towards that magic spot. We can take our elbows, gently pressing our knees open. Inhale, easy seat, inhale, forward fold. Exhaling as we lift out, and let's bounce those knees again. And again, remember, the strap is a great tool. It can help us when our mobility is not quite there. And remember, yoga is called practice. It's not yoga perfect. Just a few more seconds here, relaxing through those hips. And now let's quiet the legs and prepare for that forward fold. Inhale, tall sternum, tall spine. And exhale, hinging at the hip joints, gently reaching forward. Our gaze is about 3 to 4 feet out from us. Let the sternum reach towards that magic spot. Let the gaze, let the nose reach for that magic spot. elbows can rest on the knees if you like, helping to guide those knees a little closer towards the floor. Breathe. Inhaling and exhale as we raise up. So bring ourselves off of that block and onto the floor. If you don't have your strap close by, go ahead and grab that strap. Having a seat, we're going to sit our legs out front and then just gently open them up. Comfortable for you. Don't force them because then we might have a bend in our knee, we might be slouchy. Feel free just to open, and then where they stop, that's where we stop. Let's press the backs of our legs into that floor. Now if this makes you really, really tight in your low back, feel free to sneak a pillow and just sit on that pillow. But if you are elevating your hips whatsoever, don't lock out your knees. Keep your knees gently soft and ignore me when I say press the legs towards the floor, okay? I just want you to think more, hug your thigh bones, or excuse me, hug your muscles to your thigh bones. We want to protect those knees. So from here, we're going to take our strap over the ball of our right foot. A strap in each hand as we rotate our torso, squaring ourselves up towards our big toe. Remembering that this leg is active. Inhaling. And as we exhale, let's pull ourselves towards that toe. Again, this is a hinge and not a rounding in our spine, so don't round. Stay nice and tall for now. We will do that, I promise you. Good. Let's take the straps in the right hand. As we sweep our left arm up and over like a rag doll, we're going to pull our right elbow down towards our knee. Make a wonderful stretch through the rib cage. And lift up. And rotate back to our straps. And this time, let's drape over that leg. Anchor this hip down. Really think about that left leg and that hip being pressed down towards the ground. Feeling a wonderful stretch to the back side. Let's lift up. We'll do the same thing, other side. Strap across the ball of our left foot. As we rotate, squaring our chest towards our big toe, our right leg is active. As we inhale to prepare, and then hinging as we exhale, reaching our sternum towards our big toe. And now placing the straps in, or both straps in our left hand. We're going to sweep up, follow that gaze. Pulling the left elbow down as we ragdoll our arm over. Again, right leg is heavy. Pull that right hip down into the ground. Extend up as we bring the straps back into each hand, squaring up towards our foot. And now let's drape over that leg. Feel free to walk the hands down the strap so that the arms are passive and it's just the tension within the strap that's pulling you forward. Breathing into that tension. Good. Let's lift out and removing those straps. Bring our legs together in seated staff. And one more forward fold. Letting ourselves drape over our thighs. We walk our fingertips down. If you can grab your big toes, great. If you can't, that's okay. You can support underneath your knees, gently drawing you forward. You could support at your ankles, gently drawing you forward. Our thigh muscles hug the bone, whether your hips are elevated on a pillow or if you're on the ground, let's press the back sides of our legs into the floor. Good. Slowly lift out. I'm going to use my mat, so I'm just going to do a little quarter turn. That way my hands don't slide out from underneath me as we do a little chest expansion. We did a lot of forward fold, so a lot of flexion with the spine. Now I want to think about extending that spine. So coming into a chest expansion without coming into that upward facing bridge or upward facing plank. I just want to point our toes, hollow out through the belly, so don't let the belly stick out. Pull that belly in. And now from the rib cage up, we're going to press our hands through the floor, broadening our collarbone. Feel free to let the head relax back, opening up through the chest. Breathe. Inhale. And exhale. Soften and walking up. Let's give our knees a little hug to the chest. And not allowing these guys to separate so they don't ever leave each other. We're just going to walk those toes out. Chest is still in contact with our thighs until we get to that delicious point where we feel tension from our glutes into the low back. Let's walk our hands back up for a chest expansion. Again, scoop out, hollow hold through the belly as we bend at the elbows, get settled, and then press, opening up through the chest. Breathe. Just point those toes nice and strong. And if we feel like it, pressing our heels through the floor, using the gluteals to elevate our body. Breathe. Inhale and exhale as we lower. One more time, knees to chest, and then sneaking those toes out. Let's lift. One more upward facing plank. Scoop through the belly. Press through the floor. Broaden that collarbone. Broaden the shoulders. Shorten the distance between the shoulder blades and back. Now let's point those toes and pressing the heels through the floor. Breathe. Don't worry if you don't come up super high. I'm not super high. My glutes aren't horribly strong and my hips are very, very tight. Breathe. Inhale and exhale as we lower. So if we're really tight on the fronts of our bodies, our hips, our shoulders, it makes doing those back strengthening, posterior core strengthening exercises a little bit more of a challenge because you're dealing with tightness. And since these guys are tight in front, it's generally known that the muscles opposing them on the backside are pretty weak. So it is something to be aware of and something to work on. And it's something I'm currently working on. Let's tuck our feet under. As we come into a low Hindu squat. Good. Shoulders over hips, over heels. Let's hug all those muscles into the spine. Nice and tight as we lift up and lower down. Good. Feel free to grab a drink if you need to. I need a sip. As we face each other, coming to the center of our mats. Good. Hands at heart center. Let's step generously apart as we come into warrior two. Arms at a letter T. Right toes turn out fully. Left toes turn in slightly. Allow the gaze to go over the top of that right hand as we bring a bend into our right knee. Looking down, we can see the inside arch of our foot. We can see our big toe. If we can't, it's because we need to take that knee and rotate those thigh bones outward, gently pressing our knee towards our pinky toe, using our gluteals. Good. This leg is straight. We're not allowing the knee to bend, loading into the toes. We're pushing through our heel. From warrior two, let's rotate into a modified warrior one. So we're going to lift up onto the ball of the foot. Rotate hips and hands around. Let's interlace those fingers and open the chest up. Notice the leg behind me, the knee is straight, we're not collapsing into it, so reach, bend. You can deepen your warrior one by deepening the bend in your lead leg. You can have a gentle bend. From warrior one, we'll bring our hands down. We're just going to step in halfway and come to pyramid. So we hinge at our hip joint, hands laced behind our back, or back of the hands resting on our hips. Our hips are squared as we feel a wonderful stretch on the back side of our front leg. Good, lifting out of pyramid as we scooch the leg back, releasing our hands as we come into that modified warrior one. Let's lower our arms to T as we rotate back to warrior two. Feel free to double check your feet. Make sure we're happy. We can see our big toe. Good. Inhale, warrior two. And exhale, lift up. Toes point front and forward fold. Thigh muscles hug the bone. And let's rotate our heels outward, allowing us to fold a little deeper. Try not to put the weight on the outside edges of the feet. We want to Velcro the inside corners down as well as our outside corners. Breathing through the tension. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale as we lift. Coming into warrior two, other side. Let's rotate the left toes out, right toes in slightly. Gaze goes out over the top of our left hand as we bring a bend to the knee. Breathe. Coming into our modified warrior one. We'll rotate the hips. Hands interlace and extend overhead as we sink our pelvic floor downward. Our low backs are long, so tucking our tailbones under, opening up through our chest. Coming out of warrior two, warrior one, we'll bring the arms to a T and slowly rotate. Double checking, we can see our big toe. Our back toes are turned in. Exhale, warrior two. Inhaling to prepare. And exhaling out of warrior two, toes turn outward as we come to forward fold. Let's lift our heels again, rotating our heels outward, allowing us to fold a little deeper. If we want, we can walk those hands in. We can grab our ankles, gently pulling us deeper. Maybe just resting here is enough. If you can't touch the floor, feel free to rest in waterfall. Good. Let's bring our hands to the floor. As we toe heel in, till we feel comfortable, and we can walk our hands up our shins, up to our thighs, and let's round up one vertebrae at a time. Good. Wonderful job with that. Let's come back to standing right here as we prepare for tree pose. Feel free to stay on your blocks, or on your mat, excuse me. If you are a little unsure, a little unstable, feel free to step off where you're a bit more solid. You may even have a wall or chair handy if you need to. But let's shift our weight into our right leg. Imagine that right leg is like a tree. Our feet are the roots, and those roots are spreading out, finding anchorage. Let's lift our left knee up and rotate the knee open. Putting the heel on the inside of our ankle, our big toe is down. Starting here with our foundation, our tailbone is tucked under. Notice the knee is pointing out, it's not creeping inward. If the knee starts creeping inward, please, pinky swear promise, bring the foot back down lower. Now, starting low, hands at heart center. The left foot presses into the right calf, as well as the right calf presses into our left foot. This is a progressive pose. So please be patient. Hang out here with me for a moment. You might be anxious to move on. I really want us to open up through those hips. Really keeping that knee open. Now, you can progress. And bring the foot above the knee, tucking it in and pushing heavily into the thigh, as well as the thigh into the foot. Arms extending up slowly overhead to completion. And let's lower the right arm down to T. And then to heart center. And then releasing. Changing sides. Shifting our weight into that left foot. That left leg is now a tree. The foot is our roots and it's spreading out. Start by lifting up the heel and opening up the right knee. Allowing the big toe to be down and the heel to be on the ankle. Find that sensation. Find your anchorage. The hip is open, the knee does not drift in. From there we can progress to bringing the foot up, pressing into the calf, as well as our calf pressing into our foot. Breathe. I know you're anxious to get going. I want us to use those gluteals, opening up through the hip. Tailbone is under. Pushing foot into leg as the leg pushes into foot. And now, if you would like to progress, you can take the foot up above the knee, foot into leg as well as leg into foot. Tailbone is tucked under. Left leg is anchored. So you come to completion. Find a spot unmoving in front of you. And then the left arm lowers to T. And then hands to heart center. And we release. Shake out those legs. Good. Let's come down to the mat as we do lowering. If your balance is a little off, mine's a little shaky today, feel free to stagger your feet as you lower down, shoulders over hips over heels, as we come to the floor. Let's uncurl ourselves down. As we do another reward for those hips, let's place one ankle on top of the knee. You can do the leg closest to me, as I'm doing for you. And feel free to reach through or support. And just gently rocking side to side. Feeling that tension release within the hips. Maybe you're not tight like I am. This to me is absolutely wonderful. I feel a gentle stretch. Progressive movement to this can be to extend the heel to the floor. Now the heel and calf must be in contact. If it's not, feel free to have the foot on the floor. Me, I can't touch my heel or my calf. It doesn't want to touch because I'm just too tight. So this is a lovely progression. And then just rock it side to side, enjoying the release of tension as we gently draw the foot higher towards our shoulder as our knee falls away. If you feel like you need support, feel free to bring that knee back up. For me, I am very, very tight in my hips. So actually, I do enjoy having the support of the knee there, helping me increase my tension in the stretch. Not to the point of pain, but to the point where I feel my hip actually benefiting from the stretch and releasing tension. So again, gentle rock side to side within our figure four. Remember, you can be here, you can be here, you can be extended. Hanging out here for a good couple of minutes to really gain the benefit of that stretch. And let's slowly release. And changing legs. Again, we'll hang out here for a good moment or so. Feel free to start by drawing the knee in. Me, I feel better just supporting. And then a gentle rock, side to side. It's a little bit of a distractor. Kind of takes your mind away from the tightness. Lets all those little neuroreceptors that protect our muscles from being torn. Just realize that we're not going to do anything drastic. And then they slowly release. That's how we get that stretch. Now, if you want to progress, you can put the foot down or elongate the leg, making sure that the calf as well as the foot heel touches the ground. Me, again, I like this. I benefit from this. So I'm going to stay here. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to rock. Drawing that foot closer to the shoulder, gently allowing that knee to fall away from us. Just a gentle rock. Feel free to pause every now and then, draw a little bit more tension, and reintroduce that rock. We're almost done. Wonderful. Let's bring our foot back down, untangle those legs. Let's separate the feet so the outside edges of our heels are on the mat as we windshield wiper those legs side to side. Getting a lot of hip love today. Good. Let's let the knees fall towards each other and pause here. And if you'd like, you may raise up the ankle and let that foot or ankle rest on the back knee. But again, we don't want to make the ribs cage flare up, so pull the ribs down. You can always take your block and put it underneath that hip so that the pressure from the foot doesn't make your ribs pop. But you still get that wonderful stretch for those hips. Let's release. And just a couple times side to side. And now allowing our knees to fall away from each other. And then lifting our foot, putting it on top of the knee. And then again, if that makes your ribcage flare, prop that block underneath the hip. So your ribcage may be, your ribcage may be stitched down. And we still feel that wonderful stretch, but not such the load and tension. Wonderful stretch for our hips. And releasing. And one last time. Side to side. As we come into final relaxation, let's stretch out the legs, lifting our shoulders, setting our shoulders in a comfortable position, palms facing upward. As we return our focus to our breathing, inhaling fully and exhaling fully. Taking our sweet time as we settle our breath. With each exhalation, we can allow ourselves to soften, facial muscles relax, belly muscles relax. With each exhalation, let that softness radiate out through the arms and our legs, our fingertips and our toes. Letting ourselves melt into our floor. Slowly wiggle our fingertips and our toes, making that movement a little bigger each time. Good. Let's bring the soles of our feet together, hands together, gently rubbing to create some warmth. Shielding our eyes with our hands, allowing our eyes to open, and then drawing our knees to chest. Cradle rocking. Side to side. And now if you like, rocking and rolling to seated. Using our breath to brace at the top of our rock. And joining me if you like at easy seated. Namaste. I hope you enjoyed that today and look forward to providing more content for you. So please give it a thumbs up or let us know what you think or what you're wanting more from your workouts. Thanks for sticking with us through this time, and we'll see you soon.